Now you caught me in a weird Kona spot because this tutorial was meant to be made 2 months ago, but it was team hampered by one person. You know who I mean. Like, come on, stop team hampering. So I wanted to make a skit, but one elitist tryhard was like, boot dude, pay me. And I was like, come on man, stop team hampering. Anyway, I hope this tutorial helps and... Oh my god, can you stop team hampering? Like, get in the tank. God damn, get in the tank. Don't leave empty tanks. Get in the tank. Don't run away to the... Don't go to the tunnels. Okay, I enjoyed the tutorial. I'm going to teach this noob a lesson. Stop leaving your tanks, you son of... The goal of this tutorial is to teach new players the ropes of infantry combat, so it looks less like this and more like this. What I'm trying to say is that you'll keep dying and dying, that's just a part of the game. The KD in this game has absolutely no value. Teamwork, patience, tactical thinking and map knowledge, that's some of the most important things, not KD. But that's enough skits for today. Let's just crash into it. So just like playing any C&C game, we'll start with GDI. So pressing E on the purchase terminal will show you 5 free infantry units. That's the soldier, shotgunner, grenadier, marksman and engineer. It almost rhymes, but doesn't really. First on the character card you see his armor rating. That could be Kevlar or Flak. Kevlar armor protects from bullet damage, and Kevlar armor protects from explosive and splash damage. That means you can tank more mines, tank more tank shells, and overall splash damage. You can also see the unit's run speed. First on the list you have your basic soldier. Now this unit is a good choice for just general suppression or medium to long range killing. It doesn't have much health or armor, but it's a good basic unit to start off the match with. Then you have shotgunner. Who the hell plays as a shotgunner? Then you have grenadier. While it has a flak armor type, it's really good for infantry suppression, especially in closed off areas with a lot of corners, because of the grenadier's splash damage gun. Fourth of the list we have Marksman, a really good medium to long ranged character that can be used really effectively, especially at the start of the match. And then everyone's favorite unit, Engineer. While the Engineer's repair rate isn't that fast, it's a useful character just to get some credits from repairing buildings, or tanks or friendly infantry. On to the paid units. The first one we have is Officer. Now even though it's like an advanced soldier, I personally don't like it just because of the bullet spread. It's a bit too much and makes long distance combat almost impossible. It's pretty good when you're killing someone who's standing really close to you, but at longer ranges, it's bad. And pressing X will equip a smoke grenade. It's pretty tactical, but just make sure you're not smoking your own people because it gets annoying. Next we have one of my favorite units, the Rocket Soldier. It's an amazing unit that can take out tanks from a huge distance, and his rockets can even lock onto targets. Now here's a personal tip for people who are interested in playing anti-tank infantry. You can hide in a corner while being in third person, lock onto an enemy tank and shoot it down while being completely safe. All you need to do is shift your camera up to 90 degrees so the lock-on still works. Next we have Mcfarland. He's like the explosive shotgun guy with a grenade in his hands. While the grenade does good damage on a direct hit, I personally don't like to use it. In the wrong hands it can be a devastating weapon, but not in my hands, I'm garbage with it. Then we have Gunner. Now yes, I know what you're thinking, and no, he's just cosplaying the Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. That's why he has those earrings. He's definitely not. The gunner's rocket launcher carries 6 rockets. While the gunner's damage per shot isn't that much, he does what I call damage per second damage, not burst damage like the rocket soldier does. It's a really great unit because of his tactical EMP grenade, which can disarm enemy mines or disable enemy tanks, hampering the enemy tank's repairs and making it much easier to kill. On the 6th tab we have Patch. His gun fires gyrojet projectiles that aren't really hit scan, but if you're close enough to your target or can aim, not like me, it's a really devastating gun. The bullets also do a small amount of splash damage, and pressing X on the keyboard switches its firing mode to a noob tube. This thing is more annoying than you think, trust me. Try it out! Not last and definitely not least is my girl Sydney. Now this girl has some nice guns.
Think you can handle this?
By that I mean the personal ion cannon and the Fletcher. Now the Fletcher is the sidearm, and it's like a more advanced submachine gun. Not only that it does physical bullet damage, it has Tiberium damage that ticks over time. Now Sydney's main gun, I mean the personal ion cannon, best burst fire anti-tank gun you can ever get. Sydney is much more maneuverable than a gunner, but at the same time she has much less armor. Almost last, but definitely not least, is Mobius. Now Mobius is the main anti-infantry unit in the game. Well, for GDI at least. His gun has two firing modes. One is like a basic electric rifle thing, and the secondary charges up into a ball of lightning that does much bigger impact damage and has a small area of effect. Lastly, the best support healer, Hotwire. Not only that the Hotwire's repair rate is much higher than the engineer's, she also carries 3 proximity mines that are used for base defense. She's carrying 2 timed C4 and 2 remote C4. The general idea of sneaking with a Hotwire or a technician, depending on what team you are, is getting close to the enemy base without being noticed, demining the base, and planting C4 and timed C4 on the MCT, the Master Control Terminal. Shooting that little box does much more damage than shooting just the wall of the base. The same goes with repairing. If you repair the MCT, it's much more effective than just repairing a wall. And that's something I've noticed the new players miss out. Also a quick note about mines. The circles you see around them are the mine's effectiveness range. Of course the enemy needs to be in the line of sight of the mine for it to trigger. It won't trigger behind walls. Now moving on to the Brotherhood of Nod. The 3 basic infantry are all the same except for the flamethrower. While flamethrower guns have finite range, it has a really high fire rate and it can bypass vehicles and infantry. So in a crowded area you can damage more than one person at a time. Now for the paid characters. The officer and the rocket launcher are exactly the same as on GDI. And then there's a chemical trooper. Chemical troopers are almost like the advanced flamethrowers. They do a bit more damage than the flamethrower, and they can also use a Tiberium grenade that has a decent area of effect radius and can slow down enemy infantry. Moving on, the LCG, Laser Chain Gunner, is one of the best defensive anti-tank units you can get, because it has an absurd amount of armor, and while it's absurdly slow, you can still move around decently without getting your head cut off. On the 5th tab you have the Stealth Black Hand. Now I noticed this a lot. New players tend to get really close to the enemy and then die when they realize they've been spotted. Yes, you need to keep your distance away from the enemy infantry or tanks to be actually invisible. The Stealth Black Hand is a very versatile unit. It can deal some decent damage to tanks, it can suppress infantry units, and it's also really great for sneaking in buildings, well, mainly because they're invisible. Now for my boy Ravishaw. Now he's carrying a pretty big gun, carrying 4 railgun projectiles that can do really nice damage. He also has the EMP grenade, and he's really maneuverable, just like Sydney. Quick note, all of the anti-tank units carry anti-tank mines. Now for the main anti-infantry unit, the Mendoza. This guy's beard can shine through smoke. Just like a Mobius, a Mendoza has 2 firing modes. First one is a Tiberium gun's physical projectile damage, that also has a damage over time effect, and his secondary is a lobbed projectile that does increased damage to buildings and vehicles. Quick note, if you're actually going for a rush, be sure to right click, do not left click, because the primary fire rate does absolutely no damage to buildings nor tanks. Hey, but Conus, you missed the snipers, Conus, you missed the snipers. Yes, I know. I don't really like talking about snipers because I personally think they have no place in this game. But that's just my personal opinion. Their range is absurd, while it's understandable because they are snipers. Their damage output at least against infantry, is just way too high. In my personal noobish opinion, absolutely no character should kill someone with full health instantly. Unless it's been fixed. Wait, let me check out with my bro. Yo, Stagger, are the snipers still broken?
Oh yeah, that's still broken, man. Broken as fuck.
Now, one quick note about snipers. Yes, I understand how annoying they are to play with, but please understand, some people play this game, well, even longer than I have. And yes, while the learning curve is extremely high, learning the game, learning the movement, and just learning the general combat in the game will take about a month. So just keep at it, keep playing the game, and in no time you'll notice that you're on the top of the leaderboard. Well, I do hope that this tutorial somewhat helped you.
Aren't you the guy I quit 2 months ago?
Well, yes, I am, but
No one cares about these crappy tutorials, you nerd.
I'm just trying to help the...
Get away from me, Baldy. I'm out of here.
Now this is going to be a bit different. It's usually haha memes here. For the two people who watched till the end, I can give you the same advice I got on a completely different game. Explore the maps, kill some tanks, smell the Tiberium, because the end game is there. But once you reach it, you'll probably hate the game a bit. Also me.